Hello and welcome to my first ever YouTube crochet tutorial. Today I'm showing you how to make this cute Junimo. Now this Junimo is my most requested pattern that I get, and while I do have a written pattern available in my shop, I will link it down below. I get that a lot of people are visual learners, especially when it has a few more complicated techniques such as this stem, so I wanted to make a video to show how to do it. And this is my first ever YouTube tutorial. I hope you guys enjoy it. I can't wait to see all of your little Junimos. Let me know if you have any comments or anything, and I will try to clear those up, and I can always make another video on this. I hope you guys enjoy, and let's get on to the tutorial. So here are the different materials that you need. You'll need your body color, and then the black color to make these arms, legs, and the stem. You'll need your hook, like a stitch marker and a needle, some scissors, and your eyes. For this project, I'm using 12mm eyes and then a 6.5mm hook. These are the Bernat blanket yarns. You'll also need some stuffing. So we're going to start with our body, and I chose to make it in this blue. We're going to start by making a magic ring. Then we're going to do 8 single crochets into the magic ring. Then we're going to close up the magic ring. Now we do 8 increases around. Now we're going to do 1 single crochet and then an increase, and we're going to repeat that 8 times around the circle. Now for rounds 4 to 8, we're going to do 1 single crochet all the way around. So now we have 8 rounds of crochet here. I'm going to cut out this tail from the magic ring. Now it's time to add our eyes. I like to place the eyes between round 6 and 7 with 3 stitches in between. Like this. I'm going to show 2 different ways that you can do the arms. You can either crochet the arms directly in here, or you can make them as separate pieces and then sew them in. In order to crochet the arms and legs in, we're going to have to do 1 more round. So we're going to do a single crochet and then decrease, do that 8 times all the way around. If you are working with small yarn that doesn't allow you to either crochet into it or like turn it inside out and tie it at the bottom, you can always wait to do the entire Junimo, stuff it, and then create this apple-like shape, and then you can crochet them on the side and then sew them in like you would a normal plushie. In order to crochet the arms and legs in, I'm going to start with the arms, and I'm going to count 3 stitches away from this eye. So 1, 2, 3. I'm going to insert my hook in here, pull it through to the space right underneath it, grab my black yarn, hook it, and then pull through. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to chain 4. And then I'm going to slip stitch down 3. So you don't go into this first one right here, you're going to go here and do 1, 2, 3. So you end up with this. Now I'm going to cut the yarn and pull through. You should have these 2 yarns sticking out through the front. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my hook, insert it into the bottom of the arm, and just pull these through. There's one. Then I'm going to pull the other one through the bottom over here. Like this. So now you should have both of the threads inside. Then I just like to turn this inside out right here and tie them together to secure them. And then cut off the excess. And you should be left with an arm that looks like this. Now I'm going to show how to do it without crocheting into the body. So again, you're going to take your yarn, make a slip knot, chain 4. Again, you're going to do 3 slip stitches down, not in the first one, but in the other 3. Now you cut your yarn, pull through. Now you have an arm. So what I'm going to do with this is, again, I'm going to count 3 away from the eye. 1, 2, 3. I'm going to stick my hook up through the inside of it. Take 1 strand, pull it through. Then I'm going to go right into the space right below. And then I'm going to pull this one through. Like that. Now you have your arm through. And then, again, I like to go in, turn it inside out, tie it to secure it, and then I cut the yarn. So here you have your 2 arms using the 2 different techniques. I'm going to again show these different techniques, but this time doing the legs. In order to crochet the legs into the body, we're going to start the eye, count 2 down, so 1, 2, insert your hook into here, then insert it into the next space right beside it. Then I'm going to take my yarn, pull it through, chain 3, and then slip stitch 2 down. And again, cut the yarn, pull this through. Now you have your leg. So now I'm going to pull 1 yarn through this side, the other yarn right here. So I pulled one of the yarns where we originally inserted our hook, and then the other piece of yarn through the side where we came out with our hook, right here. Then again, turning it slightly inside out, and tying them together to secure. Now in order to do this without crocheting into the body, I'm going to take my yarn, do a slip knot, chain 3, slip stitch 2 down, cut this end of the yarn, and pull through. In order to attach this, we're going to count 2 down from this, 1, 2. You can go into either one of these, it doesn't really matter. But I'm going to go into this one right here. I'm going to take one end, pull it through, and I'm going to go right next to it, right here, pull the other side through, going to tie the inside together. So now to finish the body off, we're going to do 8 decreases. Here is the finished body. Take my stitch marker out. I'm going to choose like a long tail of yarn because we have some sewing to do. Better to cut longer than you think you need. Then I'm going to take my hook into this and pull through. Now I'm going to stuff it. So it should have like the bounciness like this does. Easily squishable. Packed but not too firm. Now we're going to sew up the Junimo. So first you're going to close the hole. Now that you have this closed, you're going to stick your needle into the center of that circle. Then we're going to turn our Junimo around and come out through the very top right here. You're going to pull through. And a little bit of the stuffing might come out, but I would not worry about that. And right here. And come out. You can honestly come out wherever you want on the bottom. Pull through, and you can see it starts to make that little divot. And then on this bottom over here, just gonna stick your needle in again, anywhere you really want in the bottom, more towards the middle, to go back into this middle up here. And pull through. Then you're going to go into the other side over here. And you can come out wherever you want on the bottom. And then pull through. This makes their little apple shape. And I pulled off any excess stuffing that came out from the top. And then on the bottom, I like to just tie a knot, just to make sure everything is nice and secure. And then stick the needle in, pull the yarn through to hide the knot, cut it, and give him a little shaping, and dust off any excess like yarn and stuffing that has come off. And most of the time I'm left with a super long piece of yarn after I finish because I always cut off way more than I need to. So I'm just going to use this instead of pulling from the big ball of yarn to create the little stem. Now if you had used smaller yarn where you couldn't add these, this is where I would now go back and just make these separate and then sew them in. This stem can be a little bit complicated, so I'm going to try to go through it slow. So I'm going to make a slip knot. I'm going to chain 3. Then I'm going to take the body collar. Kind of leave a long piece like this on one side for sewing. And then I'm going to take this and attach it like that. And I'm not going to cut the black yarn, but now it should look like I have 4 different chains on it. So 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 in black, and then you have 1 on your hook in your body collar. I'm going to chain 3. In the second stitch for my hook, I'm going to do a half double crochet. So not this one. So not this one right here. I'm going to go into this one right here. Do a half double crochet. should look like this. You have 5 chains that you haven't done anything to. So now I'm going to insert my hook into the last body color chain. I'm going to yarn over and pull through, but I'm not going to finish with the body color. I'm going to put that to the side. When you pick up the piece, I'm going to pick up the yarn that is coming off the ball within our black. I'm going to yarn over and pull through with that one, which will complete our single crochet. Then you're going to end up with 3 black stitches that you haven't crocheted into. You're just going to do 3 slip stitches all the way down, 1 in each. Slip stitch here, then 1 more, and then your last slip stitch right in here. So now you're going to cut off the black, pull through on that, and here's what it should look like. You should have the 2 body colors coming off to the side, and then 2 black pieces coming out in the bottom. So what I like to do is tie these together. Then I'm going to take my needle, thread it through, and then I'm just going to hide these in here. And I just kind of tuck them in wherever they can go. Just to hide them in here. Basically just going to weave in the ends so that we don't see them. Like that. Now I'm going to come back to my Junimo. I only have 1 needle that I like to use, so I'm going to be alternating the different sides of yarn using this needle. I'm going to attach this. Here's your center. So I like to do it on the outside of the center area right here. So in between rounds 1 and 2. I'm going to sew this on. I'm going to attach one side in first. Then I like to switch to my other one and attach it across from this other side. So right here. And then my favorite thing to do is just tie the 2 ends together. Like so. Then I'm just going to go back in and grab each of these pieces of yarn and stick my needle through close to where they are and pull through to the bottom to hide the yarn. Then I'm just going to clean it up, trying to get rid of all these little fluffy bits. There you go. That is your finished Junimo. I hope you enjoyed the tutorial to make your very own little Junimo guy. I'm super excited to see all of your Junimos. Make sure to tag me at Clodo Creations on Instagram so that I can see them. Leave any comments or questions down below and I will do my best to answer them. If you want to get the written pattern, it is linked down below for sale on my Etsy shop. Thank you so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed making your own little Junimo. And I will see you in another video. Bye!